Hello, beautiful people. Well, I did it. This weekend, I took a tumble at Road Atlanta in the high speed turn one, and this helmet, which I gave you guys a review of not too long ago, protected my noggin. You can see it's a little bit busted up and scraped up, but I am not, and for that, I'm very grateful. Well, so now I'll be shopping for a new helmet. But that got me to thinking. Just like gear protects us from a motorcycle accident, preparation can protect us from a fall or a jump from an abusive relationship or a difficult situation that we are leaving. So, today I wanted to talk about, from experience, some of the steps that I took when leaving the cult and arranged marriage and the abusive relationship that I fell into a few years later. First and most important is if you feel like you are in danger or you're concerned about your safety or the safety of your children, you need to call 911, get yourself out of that situation right away, okay? First off is to have a plan and tell no one about it. Now, I know there's that whole superstition about if you're going to do something fun, like, oh yeah, this weekend we're going to go out on the boat. It seems like it never actually happens. Well, that's kind of true in a lot of ways. When you put something out into the universe like that, you are allowing other things to stop it from happening. So just do it. The last thing you want to do is to use your plan as a threat. Like, I'm going to leave this job if you treat me this way one more time. Or I'm going to leave this relationship if you talk to me that way. Or one of these days, you'll see, I'll just be gone. Problem is, then you're putting the other person on their guard and they're going to be keeping an eye on you and everything you're doing. So, what you want to be able to do is put your plan into action, go through all the steps, and have everything ready before you actually leave. And then you just leave. No warning, nothing. You're just gone. So, the second thing that I've noticed that's very, very important is to document and journal everything. I experienced this myself back when I first left my marriage. There was a big argument over how much time each of us had been spending with the kids so that we could argue it in courts. Thankfully, I'd been writing down on my calendar the days specifically that I had the kids, and I was able to use that to leverage for the schedule to be in our favor. The courts will actually listen to you if you have in writing your notes from each of your visits or from the situations. If you have a paper trail of anything, say harassing emails or schedule of when you had the kids or when you dropped them off, what the condition was when you picked up your children, all of those things, put it in writing, keep a journal of it, date it. So very, very important. Also, journaling is really good for your health. There's been a lot of healing that I've gone through just because I've been able to keep a journal and write about it and just vent and come to the conclusions of what I need to do on my own. All right, so the next thing that I want you to focus on is staying positive. You're going to encounter a lot of harassment, you're going to encounter a lot of belittling. You're basically going to have to be sitting there executing your plan for however long it takes and staying positive, knowing that you will get out of the situation. You are going to be able to leave. This is all going to work out in your favor. Continue to tell yourself that, because the last thing you want to do is to give in and to feel like you have no control. Okay, let's talk about credit cards and line of credit, because when I left the marriage, I didn't even have my own bank account. I only had a joint account with my husband, and he had full access and control to all of the money we were making. So I had to go open my own account, start putting money into that and using it. Ladies, have your own bank account, have your own credit cards, build that line of credit, because when you first open a card, they're only going to give you about $200 to $400 limit the first time you open a card. So you need to get that and start building your credit now. When I first left my marriage, I had only saved up $250 because I had seen a sign saying that divorce attorney fees were only $250 if you called that number. I had so much accumulated debt from our marriage. I wasn't able to use the cards very much to live off of, and I was having a hard time juggling my career, taking care of the kids all by myself, all these things I'd never paid for, and navigating a life outside of the cult and understanding how that worked. So get your credit in order. Open a credit card, open your own bank account, start stashing away a little bit of money here and there, even if it's only $20. When I left my marriage and I was out on my own, I fell into an abusive relationship not long after. I was very naive, and as we all know, abusive people are usually very charismatic and friendly and kind at first, and then you find out how evil and wicked they are later on. Well, I was in one of those situations and trying to leave and planning ahead for it and knowing that I might need gas money one day, or I might need to escape in my vehicle. So I would hide an extra cell phone in another place that called 911. I didn't have it connected to a line. I would stuff $20, $10 bills into the seat cushion of my car just for gas money or an emergency in case I had to escape or sleep in my vehicle for the night just to be safe. So stash and save, so important. Okay, I also need you to read up on divorce laws and the custody laws in your area. If there are children involved in your situation, you need to be aware of what your county, your state requires. Everybody's is different, and you want to make sure that the courts are in your favor and that you're doing everything right. Remember to document those things too. The divorce court might require you to attend a parenting class, for example. So get familiar with those, read up on everything, and make sure you're following all the steps and recording it. Remember, like I mentioned earlier. But one of the things that I wanted to point out was in my situation, my lawyer had said that it's really good to develop a community for the kids so that they're very established down in my area where I was living at the time. So I got them into Sunday school and into school sports when they were finally allowed to go to school, so that it proved and showed that the kids had social network. Another big one for me was to develop a support group of friends on the outside that were able to provide a safe place if I needed to run to that could give me support, that could talk me through things and encourage me, that could also do research. Is very important. When you go through a divorce, a lot of times your friends will split down the middle. Some will be on his side, some will be on your side. There will be people going back and forth telling little secrets. So it might be time to make some new friends. A group that you can count on that are on your side. This is where the next step comes into play. There are resources out there for when you're leaving a domestic violence situation. In my case, I reached out to an organization called Women Helping Women. These resources are so valuable. They can provide a place for you to stay if you're leaving a domestic violence situation. They can give you helpful handbooks and also connect you with other strong women who have been through it before that can give you steps. And sometimes they'll even have recommendations on lawyers or other helpful things to get you through this difficult time. But it's very important to build a network of people that know what's going on, that can help you, and that'll be there for you. So check out your local resources for victims of domestic violence, for divorce. If you're in a situation where there's alcohol or drugs involved, maybe Al-Anon course would be helpful for you. I did go to one of those at one time, and that actually helped me leave that violent, abusive relationship later on. Okay, remember to plan and keep it quiet. Document and journal everything. Stay positive. I want you to stash money and build your credit. And then I want you to check out these resources and have a strong support group. I know you've got this. You're going to get out of the situation. I did, and look at me. I'm like living my best life and racing motorcycles now. So you've got this. Feel free to reach out if you have any more questions. I'll do what I can to point you in the right direction if I don't know the answer.